All right, so here, listen up. All right, on YouTube, what I did with my classes, I went with, I think I started today with, 29. I did with them 29 all the way through 40, actually 43. All right, so what I want to do with you guys is, believe it or not, I'm going to start with which one? 44, and then I'm going to go through all the rest of them, and then I'm going to circle back and say, which ones do you need help with? Is everybody with me on that? That way, all the examples will be presented. All right, so if you're having some issues, I will go back. All right, is everybody with me on this? All right, now again, listen, I tried to tell them how important these percent problems are. And if you understand percentages, these problems are actually kind of what? Easy. But if you're struggling a little bit, let me help you. All right? And sometimes, I don't want you upset. I want you to ask. And let me show you. All right? Because once you see it, it's what? It's easy. If you don't see it, though, it's not easy. So that's what my job is, to try to make it look easy for you. All right? So please, stay with me. What? Well, I just asked you to do, I don't even remember, to be honest. But we're going to go through all of them. We're going to go through all of them anyway. Do you hear me? Yes. All right, that way you'll be prepared for whatever you see tomorrow. So right now I want to start with question number 44. All right? Is everybody with me on 44? Just scroll down. I know you haven't done it, but take out your calculator. All right? Now it says, where do people get most of their medical information? All right, the table above shows the summary of 1,200 responses. Based on the table, how many of those surveys get most of their medical information from either a doctor or the internet? So either the doctor or the internet. So you take your little highlighter and you look up doctor and you look up what? Internet. And what percent? What percent get it from the doctor or the internet? 76%. I don't know what some of you guys are saying. I'm looking at that saying 76% of the people. Do they agree with that? Now, how many people, though, were surveyed? 1,200. Thank you. So how do I figure out how many people got their information? What do I do? 1,200 divided by 76.76. Anybody else? What do you think? Do it on your calculator and see if that's right.
It's 1,200 times.
There you go. It is actually 1,200 times 0.76. All right? You're taking 76% of what? 76% of the total, which is 1,200. That's how I want you to think of that. Listen to me carefully now. 76% is part of the what? Whole. 1,200 represents the what? The whole. So you're taking part of that whole. So how do I take part of the whole? I simply multiply 1,200 times 0.76. Which gives you 912. So the correct answer there was C. All right? Now let's take a look at 45. All right? Now what I want to do is I'm going to give you about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Read it, please, and see if you know what we're doing. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take a guess at what the answer is. I want you to take a guess at what the answer is. And what you're probably going to guess is what everybody guesses, which probably means what you're guessing is wrong. All right, we don't just add percentages. Never, ever you ought to just add percentages in this situation. All right? In other words, most people say we increased by 25%, correct? So that means I have 100 plus 25, and then I do what? Decrease by 20. So most people say the answer is what? 105%. But obviously that's what? That's not going to be correct answer. All right? And that's the easiest choice to select. All right? Now, let me walk you through this one now. Please listen carefully. Do we know what the original amount was?
No.
Does it even matter?
Nope.
It doesn't even matter. That's what you need to understand. So I have no idea a number n, so I'm just going to put n. Now, if I want to increase that number by 25%, what do I do? Multiply by what? No. 1.25. You're going to increase it. So I want you to multiply that by 1.25. Come on now. I need your attention. I need you working. All right, listen to what I'm saying. I just increased it by what? 25%. Now, I have to do what? Decrease it by, which means I multiply by 0.8. Thank you. I multiply that answer by 0.8. Where do I get 0.8 from? Tell her.
Because you're decreasing 20%, you have to pay 80%.
There you go.
2.8, but you just don't have to write this here.
You with me, right? So you normally pay 100%, you're decreasing it by 20%, which means you get to keep what? 80%. All right, so now what I need is I need everybody on their calculator to go ahead and multiply 1.25 times 8. Or I'm sorry, 1.25 times 0.8. And what does it come out to be? 1. So 1 what? 1 end. So the answer is? Then it's 100. Because 1 is the same as 100%. So listen to me again. Now listen, here's what I try to tell kids. Look, you got a 1 in 5 shot at getting this correct. The only thing I care about is if you did what? If you did what I asked you to do right there. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. All right, is everybody with me on that?
Yes.
All right, that's an important theme. It's going to come up on the test tomorrow. All right, yes, sir. Well, the number is increased by 25%, right? So it was 100%. Then you increase it by 25%, which means you add 25% of it. Right? And 100% plus 25% is 125%. What?
How did you get 0.8?
We already had this conversation, honestly. Exact conversation. That's why I want you to listen. We have another test tomorrow. I lost what? I decreased by what? So, I had what? 100%. Come on now. That's what I'm saying. Come on, girl. Listen, listen, listen. You can do this. Better than you think, actually. All right, now, everybody take a look at 46. All right. A poll of 200 registered voters was taken before the election for mayor of Springdale. All 200 voters indicated which one of 4 candidates they would vote for. The results of the poll are given. What percent chose Whitney? Now, look, if you don't know this one, man, I'm just way behind. And like I said, these are directly off college or high school tests. All right. Cole, what are we doing on this one?
On number 46, you add all the number of votes.
And you think it's probably what? Look up on the board for me.
200.
Yeah, because listen, what you said was good, right? But was it necessary? No, because they already told you they were what? That's right, 200. So now what do I have to do?
The number of rows should not be 30 divided by 2.
Yes, thank you very much. So Whitney got 30 out of what?
200.
200. All right, which is what decimal? 0.15, which is what percent? 15%. Now look, guys, I thought that was kind of easy. Kind of easy. You with me?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Let's read what 47 says. All right, Alex. So I'm going into the store to buy me some new jeans. They're $35.95, but I noticed they say they're on sale 25% off.
Yay.
So what do I do for this one, Alex?
So we do 35.95.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. I'm proud of you. Good job, buddy. Times 0.75. Because it's what? 25% off? That means you only have to pay 75. Now tell me what that answer is.
Probably 26.96.
So we're just going to say it's what?
26.96.
So the answer is? No, but I mean look on the iPad. What letter?
26.
Wait a minute. You said the answer was, and I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. 26 point what?
26.96.
All right. So if we round that to the nearest dollar,
27.
there you go. Correct answer, D. So if you're good with that, I'm good. Cole, you guys up here. Or if you got questions, raise your hand, please. D is correct. I'm happy with you. That's much better. All right. Come on now. All right. Now, 48 is a formula. 48 is a formula. Lander, do you remember how to do this? All right. So now, here's what I want you to do. We're trying to find the percent of discount. So listen to me. We forgot the formula. All right, we totally forgot the formula. So, if I forgot the formula, how much discount did I get?
$10.
$10. Out of how many?
150.
That's the answer. Now look, that's what I'm trying to teach you now. You're not going to remember the percent of change. All right, so they're asking the percent of the decrease. Well, we decreased how much? I know, but we decreased how much?
Oh, $10.
We decreased $10. Out of how many dollars? 50. There you have it. You with me on this, right? So when you forget, it's okay. We're talking about the decrease. So we have to figure out numerically what is the decrease. All right? And you decrease 10 out of 50. Hopefully that's kind of starting to make a little better sense. So the answer is definitely what? 20%. All right? All right? So here we go. Now, let's talk about 49. It says on a math test, 12 students earned an A. This number is exactly 25% of the total numbers in the students. How many students are in the class? What do you think?
I was thinking
That's okay, bud.
N equals 0.
Exactly. Listen, do we know how many people are in the class? No. Very smart. So since we don't know how many people are in the class, we're just going to put in. But I know what? What do I know about the total? 25% of the total. 25% of the total is what? Is 12. Beautiful. That's how I'd want you to think about that, if you didn't know. All right. Now, most people should be able to look at that and say, well, I knew the answer was 48 without doing any work. How's that, Hanson?
Because if you do 25% and then 25 times 4 is 100.
That's right. That's a good way of doing it also, those of you guys who are thinking logically. If 25% represents 12, if I multiply 25% by 4, I get 100%, and that's what we're looking for. So 12 times 4, 48. But, as he will tell me, if I take 12 and divide it by 0.25, guess what that's going to be? 48. Exactly right. All right. All right, let's talk about 50 now. Ooh, another good one. Hunter, what are you thinking about 50?
Okay, so you take 510,
That's right. Hey,
and then since he's wanting to improve 20%, it would basically be like a markup.
that's
So
exactly
it'd be
correct.
510 times 1.2.
Thank you so much for listening, buddy. I could not have said that any better. 510 times 1.2 is the answer. That's excellent, excellent, excellent. So what is it? 612?
That's what I got.
Right. Listen, guys, I'm telling you, I'm pulling these right off a high school test. Right? It's embarrassing. I'm agreeing. It's hard. This is hard. Right? So those of you guys who are struggling, that's okay. But if you don't say, hey, what are you talking about? I improved by 20%. Why is it 1.2? I can't help you. Are we doing the same kind of stuff over and over and over? Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any issues? All right. Now, here we go. I prefer that we write that as a what? Equation. So, Hanson, what's my equation?
23 equals n times 115.
Beautiful. Now, how do I solve that equation?
23 divided by 115.
Beautiful. 23 divided by 115, which is what?
0.2, which is 20%.
Nice. Guys, simple, simple, simple. You should start to feel, wow, I finally got it. It's not difficult.
52.
All right, let's check out 52. What is the answer then?
Oh, the answer is 16.
How did you do that?
Because I
Smarty
did 50%
pants.
of 8 in my head, which is 4, and then 4 times 4 because 25.
Look, that's what you're supposed to be able to do. Guys, you hearing me? Look, I mean, honestly, I work with high school guys. I said, come on, that's embarrassing if you can't do that. Look, say it one more time because that was excellent. I couldn't do it better. Go.
Oh, me?
Yes.
So 50% of 8 is 4, and that's what it says 4 is 25% of what number, and so 4 times 4 because that's what 25% is, and it's 16.
Does that make any sense? No, not kind of. Not kind of. Come on, Caroline. It's got to be good. Watch. You understand 50% of 8, right?
Yeah.
So we just talked about something. If 4 is 25% of something, I want 100%. Do you agree? So I just multiply by 4. So what? 16 is 100% of n. You with me on this? There's no math. Right? Now, if you want to do the math, you would just say 0.5 times 8 equals 0.25 times x. That's the math.
I did 50 times 8 divided by 25.
Yes. All right. So you really should be doing percentages. You admit? So that's why it should have been 0.5 and 0.25. But believe it or not, it doesn't matter, right? Because the decimals are the same. All right. I'm pretty happy with you guys, actually. All right. Really happy. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go back. All right. And there's some problems I just want you to look at. I may not erase them, but we might just talk about them. So what number would be a good place for you guys? Does anybody have one in particular that may to look at? Catherine, go.
30. Number 30.
Yeah,
All right,
that was
let's take a look at 30. Oh, I'm a little mad at you guys. Really mad. Really mad. Now look.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now. Look at that carefully, please. All right. Now, again, this is another high school question, and I fuss at all my high school kids who can't do that. And I say part of it is just pure laziness because you didn't even graph the points. You didn't even look at something. All right. They said what's in quadrant 3. So now, does everybody see how I highlighted what's in quadrant 3? Now, is that a lot or a little? A little. So right off the bat, I can cross out what? J and K. Is everybody hearing me now? Please listen. Today's a big day, important day. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Now, the highlight represents what? How many squares? 2. out of how many?
25.
2 out of 25, right? You should be able to tell me that's 8%. If not, you just go what? 2 divided by 25. 8%.
Oh, I didn't know we had to. Oh, my problem was I didn't quite understand
Yeah.
the question. I didn't know that we were supposed to highlight what was in there.
Well, but it says, what percent of the total area of the rectangle is in quadrant 3?
You need to highlight.
This is quadrant 3 right over here, right? This is quadrant 3, so it's just this little bit. You with me? That's all it is. Now look, guys, if you didn't graph that, there is a problem. You have a problem if you didn't graph it. I'm not saying you did or you didn't. I'm just saying it's giving you graph paper. It's giving you points. You should have plotted the points. And then it's say, I don't even have a clue how to do the problem. I can at least look and say, wow, there's a little bit in quadrant 3, not a lot. So I've narrowed it down to either F, G, or H. Is everybody feeling good about that now? All right. Which one do you want me to talk about?
31.
All right, let's talk about 31. Guys, and please go through and find problems you have issues with. You're reading it and you go, wow, I don't understand that. All right, so she did. So we're going to look at 31. Now this one I think you should be able to do, kiddo. So look at what I did and see if you understand what I did. 8%, 0.08 of in math means to do what? Multiply by what? 60 is in math means equal 1/5 of what number? And all I did was said 1 divided by 5 is what? 0.2. You can multiply by 5. Yes, sir.
I have a question on number 43.
Good. Now, Caroline, are you good so far?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? All right, now I'm going to jump all the way to 43, but that's okay. You kind of think about a problem that you want to look at. All right, I'm going down to 43. Here we go. Oh, this one, put a star by this one. Fantastic problem. Fantastic problem. All right, definitely going to see less like this on the test. Definitely. This is a super hard, and about as hard as it can possibly get. But, of course, if we understand numbers, this is what? It's simple. It is simple. All right? So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to try to hide my answer real quick because I don't want you to see it. Oh. All right, here we go. All right. So listen carefully now. All right. Again, as we're reading it, let me just read it real quick, and then you can tell me what to do. All right. First of all, blah, 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 right? And it's annoying because if there's a lot of word problems, or if there's a lot of words, kids get like, wow, I don't feel like reading, so I'm just going to guess. Don't do that. It's not that hard. All right. It says, as I get down, I found the important part. It says, here we go. It says, Townsend Realty purchased the Glenview Street property. So I went up and found what? The property. All right. And I highlighted 140,000 because that's how much I what? That's how much I paid for it. You agree with me on that, Jack?
Yeah.
All right. So now,
So now you have to.
do I know what the original price is? No. I only know what?
Oh,
I only know the purchase price, and that's after I've gotten some good discounts. So do I know the original price? Again, no, I do not. So what do I want to give my original price?
you have to a markup.
Well, what letter do I know?
Oh, and then.
N. We're going to give it N. Now, listen, we're not going backwards, Jack. So I want you to put N down on your paper. N. That stands for the original price. Because I don't know what the original price is. I only know what the sale price is. Now, come on, really listen. All right? Because this is a real, if you can do this one, I'm pretty sure you can do them all. All right? So now, I'm driving by and I see a big sign, 40% off. So, what would I do to figure out what I would have to pay for that? What do I do with n? No, no,
0.16.
of course, 0.6, because I get 40% off. So that means I only have to multiply it by what? 0.6. Now, there are going to become time when you guys get older and you buy a big property, or some of you guys who will be in business like that. If you can pay cash, they'll even give you a bigger discount. So then this now, because I've got the cash, they're going to give me a discount. So now I only have to pay what?
You have to pay 40?
No,
Wait,
no.
8.8.
Thank you, Cole. Help him out today. All right. So no, no, no. What do I do with this Cole right here? What do I do to that? Multiply that by 0.8. I'm going to multiply that answer by 0.8. Now, I'm going to say that one more time. Listen, you're driving by, you see a property, and it says, come in today and buy it, and I'll sell it to you 40% off. So that means I only have to pay now what? 60%. So I go in and I talk to them. And they say, wow, you got cash, I'll even give you a better deal. Because sometimes if you have to go through a bank, it takes a long time. So if you can pay cash, they'll put you right through real quick. So if you can pay cash, instead of paying that price, you're only going to have to pay what? 80% of that. That's why I multiplied that by 0.8. And after I do all that, it's only going to cost me how much money? How much money is it going to cost me? No, I'm not asking you on the calculator. I'm asking you to pay attention. How much money?
140,000.
Thank you. After all that, it's going to cost me $140,000. It's going to cost me $140,000. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the best way to do this now is someone to tell me what's 0.6 times 0.8.
0.48.
Yes, n times 0.48 is equal to 140,000. And so now, how do I find the original cost? What would I do? That's right. Divide by 0.48. Divide by 0.48. So n is equal to, someone please. Yep, 291,700. You with me on this? Is that right?
Yes. I have a question.
Okay, hold on one more second, then you're gonna tell me what your question is. Hey, does that make sense? Seriously, guys, listen. If you understand that, you're pretty good with numbers. You're pretty good with numbers if you can tell me that.
Is that something like that hard?
There's probably. You can do it. All right, you can do it. All right, we have one right here.
I have a question on number 20.
All right, let's jump back to 28, please. 28, 28, 28. Where are we? All right, here we go. Now, on this one, you have to remember that formula I equals what? PRT, right? So, I equals PRT. So that's going to be 25,000, right? Times 0.0275 times 1, right? So how much was that?
$687.35.
So we would have made $687.50. Do you agree? Now you look in the paper and you're mad at yourself because you see someone's offering you what now? 3%. So we can take 25,000 now and multiply by 0.03. And that would be what?
That would be it's 750.
You agree with that? So now what's the question? How much more money could you have earned? What would I do?
687.59 or 25,000 minus 700.
No. Listen, you were right the first time. This is how much money I would make. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Or I would make this amount. That's how much the bank would pay me. I would still have my $25,000, but one bank would pay me $687.50 and one would pay me $750. Do you agree?
Oh, I think
So you just subtract. And when you subtracted, what was that?
it's
It's
62.
62.50.
That's what I got.
All right, 62.50. All right, here we go. All right, Caroline, what?
32.
All right, let's take a look at 32. Oh, this one's a really nice one now. Come on.
That's what I got.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying, right? Everybody look at 32 because you're just multiplying by 1.08, right?
Mhm.
And they just want to know how many coins or how much cents do you need.
Okay.
Right? That's a nice little problem. Okay, nice little problem. All right, they're trying to throw you off a little bit. All right, let me tell you which one I think is good. Everybody look at 37. Everybody go to 37. I want everybody to look at 37. And again, I would star this one. And it's just like the one we just did, actually. Exact same problem, just different wording. Okay, now, listen to me. I want everybody to pay attention on this one. Listen to me. Jennifer's best long jump distance increased by 10%. And then in the following year, it increased by what? 20%. So listen to me. Who would put K, J, or H? People who are not what? Yeah, people are not paying attention. If you increase something by 10% and then you increase that value by 20%, is it going to be 2% or 15 or 20? No. Now, of course, everybody put down what for the answer? And of course, everybody was. We know that it has to be what? We know that it has to be 32 without doing any work. Now, how did I know it was 32 without doing any work? So here's what I need you to do. Listen carefully, please. If I increase something by 10% and then I increase something by 20%, I know it has to be a little bit more than what? 30%. Because when I increase it a second time, I'm increasing it on the 110%, not on just the 100%. All right, so now this is what I was talking about a minute ago with this property that we had. All right, so right now, do I know what her original jump was? No, so I can just give it what value? No, I can give it n because I have no clue how far she jumped. I have no clue how far she jumped. Is everybody with me on this?
Yes.
But I'm going to increase my jumping distance by 10%. So that means I should multiply that by, Ben? 1.1 or 1.10. Beautiful. Now I've worked really hard, so now I want to increase that by 20%, which means I'm going to,
1.8.
no. I'm going to increase by 20%, so I'm going to multiply by what?
1.2.
Yes, 1.2. I'm going to increase that by 1.2. Is everybody hearing me?
Yes.
So now hopefully you understand it wasn't 20% of the 100%, but it was the 20% of the 110%. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. So now if I multiply 1.1 times 1.2, I get what?
1.2.
1.32n, which is what?
32.
32% greater. Does everybody hear me on that?
Yes.
That's a super, super hard problem. Super, super hard.
Is it probably
Something like that's definitely going to be on the test because you guys know what you're doing now. You understand numbers better. All right, than the average. Yes.
So when you it says it's gonna increase it. So when you increase like by 20% and 10%, then it's on like the 100.
That's right. That's
All right.
exactly right. You're not increasing 100% anymore because you have more than 100%. You have 110%. All right, that's a very good lesson. Very, very good lesson to understand. The average kid put G down, and everybody thought they were right. It's not. It's not G. All right? Good. Let's look at 42. Thank you very much. Oh, now, come on now. This one you should be good at.
I put
It's all right. Let's just talk about it. It doesn't matter. I want you to be wrong, okay? Because you're learning, and it's hard, and these are high school questions.
oh I know
Alright.
why.
Because we have 8 hours, right?
Yeah, could we
And they're talking about what answer is
yeah,
in.
I got 1.2 as my answer, and then I realized just now that 0.2 of an hour is 12 minutes, so you have to, yeah.
There you go. And 1 hour would be,
6 minutes.
so 60 plus 12 is, that's exactly right. However, we could have just said, look, here's the key to this, though. Better explanation. I'm talking about minutes here. Agreed?
Yep.
So if I have 8 hours, how many minutes? 480 minutes. Thank you very much. So instead of saying I work an 8-hour week, I work a what? 480-minute week. And then I just multiply that by what? 0.15. Because that's how much I'm taking meetings. Is everybody with me? So it'd be 480 times what? 0.15. All right. We got another question up front.
I have a question on number 41.
41. Oh, now this one's just a really, really, really good trick question. I've been doing percent. And then all of a sudden I just ask you about a table. Now, why am I saying that's a trick question? Because look, everybody, you have to read them carefully. All right, let's talk about it. It says the table below shows the age distribution, right? Come on, listen. We're talking about this, right? It says at least 16 years old.
Yeah.
If we're at least 16, that means we are what?
17.
Wait a minute. 16 or what?
Or
17 or what? Or 18. 16, 17, or 18. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Now listen, this is a great example of, do we really have to multiply by anything here?
No, we're just
No, we just have to add the percentages up. When I add those percentages up, it comes up to be what?
66.
66%. Is everybody happy with that explanation? Right, so again, you have to be careful. You have to read carefully. And when you read carefully, all right, that's it. All right, guys, please, if you want to look at some of the other questions, they're all explained online. All right? Good job today. Alex, you feel better? All right, I hope so. Yes.